A new Netflix docuseries tells the story of the controversial e-cigarette company Juul. It's called Big Vape, The Rise and Fall of Juul, and it follows two Stanford graduates who initially aimed to help people quit smoking, but may, at some point, unintentionally sparked a youth addiction and vaping epidemic. Here's a preview.
When the kids issue was really taking off, James and some executives came up to my office, and, they were telling us how concerned they were about kids. And we said, look, if you're really concerned about kids, you wouldn't be doing the kind of marketing you're doing. You'd get rid of the flavors. And they said, we have this great idea. And I said, do you mean to tell me that you can communicate with these devices in both directions and control them remotely? And you can measure second by second how people are puffing on it? The nicotine delivery, puff by puff by puff, you could make that product 1,000,000 times more addictive than a conventional analog cigarette.
In a statement to CBS News, Juul Labs says that over the past years, it's committed to re-earning the public trust. And that statement goes on to say that some of the ways they've tried to do that is by ceasing distribution of all non-tobacco, non-menthol flavored products and halting all mass-market product advertising. Juul Labs also says underage use of Juul products has dropped by 95%. The series is based on the book Big Vape by Time's Jamie Ducharme, and she joins us now along with the series director, R.J. Cutler. Thank you both for being here. I think the story of Juul is an absolute tragedy, and I'll say that for any smoker in my life, I tell them, quit smoking traditional cigarettes now and switch to vaping if it helps you quit. That is my position on this. The fact that we haven't had clear messaging in this country, I think actually literally kills people. I'm really curious, Jamie, when you started writing about this, what initially attracted you?
Well, I began covering Juul in around 2018, at the time when many teenagers were beginning to Juul. So at the very beginning, I was interested in that, sort of what is vaping doing to young people? What are the health effects? I'm a health and science reporter, so that's what drew me to it. But over time, the story really evolved for me into a business story, into a character-driven story. And that is what led to the book that has now become the series out today.
Yeah. What made you pick up the book and say, man, this has got to be a 4-part docuseries?
Well, I see this as a great example of kind of the central narrative of our moment, which is the unintended consequences of big tech. They didn't set out to reignite a youth smoking epidemic, but they did. They set out to create a smoking cessation device, and the twist of the story is the damn thing worked.
It actually
They succeeded.
does.
The engineering's fantastic, the design is fantastic, but the way the company brought the product to the world was a disaster.
Yeah, and their intentions, I think, in the beginning were pure, but once you see the number of kids who were using it, because it's not good for kids, then we've taken a turn. And at the end of the doc, it basically says, it was really a big marketing error. Is that where we fall on this? You had a great character with a mother and her son who was doing it, and the son, the Juul guy, comes to the class, and the son said, yeah, but they're not saying the right thing. The only one who will believe me is my mom. And then mom, Meredith, went on a tear. Do you think the bottom line was the product was a good one, it's just that the marketing was bad?
I always say Juul's is a story of missed opportunity. The product could have been good. It could have made a strong impact on public health, but Juul, the company, made countless mistakes and clearly got their product in the wrong hands.
It's so tough, though, because when it comes to cigarettes, unhealthy foods, and drinks, when you market, you know who you're marketing to. Yeah. So, the fact that kids listened and enjoyed what Juul was putting out there is always strange that they kind of walked it back and said it wasn't their intention. But what does Silicon Valley, in their perspective on how they played a role in the idea of public health? Where do you stand on that argument?
Well, the question is, can the Silicon Valley approach to public health work? I mean, we see big, high-stakes finances at work in the way that we're approaching the cancer crisis in this country,
right,
up in the Boston area, and it's working. Public health and finance are working together with scientists and engineers to solve this crisis in extraordinary ways. In Silicon Valley, when the principles of Silicon Valley are applied to public health, as they were with the Juul, it wasn't successful. So what does that teach us? And we hope that this series will stimulate a conversation towards that.
Can I just ask you, our friends in the UK are very different in the way they approach vaping. They say vaping is less harmful than smoking and a very effective tool for quitting smoking. I'm reading from the National Health Service. In fact, you're roughly twice as likely to quit smoking with a nicotine vape compared to the patch or gum. That's what they say. They'll even give you a free one there to help you get off cigarettes. Here, we got none of that. We haven't approved a single device, and 500,000 people are dying a year. Which of us is right? Those guys overseas or our government?
Well, one of the characters in our series says, one of the people we interviewed says, one day your grandmother is going to use a vaping device to help get her off of cigarettes, and she's going to live another 5 years.
Right.
And isn't that a wonderful thing?
Right.
And that's a perspective. Jamie can speak more to what studies have taught us about which government is
In
right.
less than 30 seconds, Jamie.
Yeah.
I think
Your bottom line is what?
Sure. I think the hard thing is that vapes are not that old, really, in the world of health research. It can take decades to fully understand.
Yeah.
So that's the tough part.
This is a complex story, and the complexity is what we explore in this series.
I think
Your
it's pretty
series is
simple at
very
the end of the
good.
day.
I started to watch
Yeah,
one and
I
watched
do
all
think it's
four.
very
Educating
simple.
and entertaining.
I learned a lot.
I think if you're an adult smoker, it is pretty simple. Quit the cigarettes.
Yes.
Any alternative is better. It's an exhaust pipe. RJ Cutler, Jamie Ducharme, thank you very much. Big Vape on Netflix right now.